best right back, Charlie. Definitely.
There's always just that active red line defenders, I think, and like. There's always just that active red line defenders, I think, and like. There's always just that active red line defenders, I think, and like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Seriously, I want my flowers. Name a more hardworking content creator than me. In the United Kingdom, it is 1:27 a.m., but the show must go on. I thought to myself, I could just say, you know what, let's do it tomorrow. But I thought, what, the fans want to hear my voice. I want to hear their thoughts. Obviously, I've done a reaction video. We're still, you know, I'm recording at 10 a.m. with the different knock. Again, you're still going to get some content tomorrow. And I appreciate all of you lot tuned in because it is stupid o'clock and it's even more stupid o'clock elsewhere. But, you know, we won 6-0. Arsenal 6, Lens 0. First things first, we're through, you know, to the next round of the Champions League. Whatever twists, turns, bumps and bruises happen, we'll deal with it then. And the way I feel, obviously, let's calm down. Let's enjoy the competition. I know Arsenal fans are euphoric. We can take on the world right now. And I ain't going to lie, bring on anyone. You know what, PSG, if you go through, I fancy myself against you lot, you know. I'm not going to lie, Mbappe, who? You got Saka and Martinelli. But we need to enjoy the competition. We don't know what's going to happen over them in the latter stages, but we're through. We kept a clean sheet. We did a madness. I won't say this is the most special night in Europe in this club's history or of the Emirates era, because I've seen us beat Bayern Munich and Barcelona and do these things. But arguably it is, man. We were treated to 6 goals. We were treated to a fast start. It's unheard of, you know, to see us score within the first 15 minutes of a game, let alone put the game to bed within the first half an hour. And it was a weird one because, like, I think it was a good performance, a solid performance, but it was one we didn't have to exert too much energy. It weren't really a thing where, you know, you look at the Fulham or Spurs or Chelsea games in the Premier League where it's a lot of energy. Creating United, when we won, crazy things have happened and we took care of business, didn't have to assert too much pressure. Other players got some minutes, some players got to get taken off. Kirio even got some minutes. So it was great in that regards. And it weren't really a game where we was free flowing and we put them to the sword and things like that. We were clinical. I did like being at the game, how, you know, numerous players in terms of our build-up player dropping short. And then it's almost like a 4 up front at times out of possession and we're going long. And that led to a couple of the goals. Obviously, Lens made some mistakes. We took advantage of such people, you know. Havertz scored and scored again on the bounce, really. I believe that's his first goal at the Emirates. So whether we rate Kai Havertz or not, believe in him or not, obviously he's going to have to do a lot to prove every Arsenal fan right or wrong, depending on what you believe of the man. But it's a step in the right direction. I don't know what it is with European teams, and I'm not complaining because they don't do one thing that Premier League clubs do, in that they double up, you know, low blocks. Yeah, they had about 5 defenders, but doubling up low blocks and all of that stuff. You play with fire, you get burnt. You give Saka and Martinelli time to even think, they make things happen. So it's lovely to see them two on the score sheet. Lovely to see Ødegaard on the score sheet. Jorginho looked like he bullied Ødegaard. I'm not going to lie, off that second penalty, really. Off the penalty, really. Big up VAR even going our way. And considering what happened yesterday against Newcastle, off the back of a weekend where we saw Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur lose, we're in euphoric circumstances. So 6 goals, clean sheet, through to the next round. Obviously, this is a condensed and jam-packed December, and the games are coming thick and fast. We've been dealing with this since the start of the season. I'm not sure Mikel Arteta is going to make 10, 11 changes in what is essentially a dead rubber game in the group, but you know, obviously want to win and stuff. But if he does want to rest players and maybe rotate the side and give minutes in the legs of players that, haven't been playing frequently, then he can, so we can rest some legs. It's a fantastic day, man. We was clinical. We scored 6 goals. We kept a clean sheet. We got revenge on Lens. Saliba did get nutmeg. Let's whisper that. But yeah, it was lit, man. We took advantage of the mistakes defensively that they made. I have to give credit to the Lens fans because they made noise even before the game was kicked off. From the moment their players walked out up through the tunnel, they were mad. I'm sure if you watched it on TV or on the stream, you saw like all the flares and all of that stuff. You see some of them fighting. Them Frenchmen are built different. So yeah, people, man, it was a great day at the office, man. The goals were shared, kept a clean sheet, scored a bunch of goals. Fantastic night for the fans around the world that stayed up to watch the game or were able to watch the game. Obviously, those at the Emirates were treated. The only thing that could have made this better, I'm not gonna lie, Arteta, you could have given the young G's, Ethan and Miles, a little run out, little standing ovation. Let them get some Instagram captions and maybe some Badinas Instagramming them, DMing them, and their followers going up. But we know Arteta has very high standards, and I don't think he's necessarily right or wrong to blood them. He's allowed to use his squad as he wants. The very fact that them 2 young players, we all know they're 2 quality good players as well as human beings, but the very fact that they're in the squad at their young ages is a privilege and is something to walk, something to look forward to. The light show and all that stuff was crazy, and I ain't gonna lie, it's late. I'm gonna have to sleep, but tomorrow when I wake up, you lot were on to me about match day vlogs and stuff, so I tried the thing. I've got various bits and pieces of footage, so I'll get that out for you. And I've been on a bit of a DG press run. You lot got on to me about being on AFTV, so I showed my face on AFTV. I was obviously on Arsenal's breakdown show, really, where you can actually see that on YouTube if you go on arsenal.com. I think they cut it up into 2 parts, people. So yeah, and we're still here and we'll still be here tomorrow, and obviously it's watch along business on Saturday. So I'm a happy man. There isn't, what is there? I'm not gonna lie, really, until the first goal went in, let's be honest, people, it was a bit of a stalemate. It weren't that we were bad, but both teams cancel each other out. Obviously, I like the fact that we scored early because it's like being in a boxing match against someone, in a intense environment, and they've planned and studied how you fight, and the coaching staff have done the same. The boxing staff have done that, and then you've landed 2 crazy bangs, unorthodox bangs. Everyone's got a plan till they get punched in the face. Word to Mike Tyson. So whatever game plan they had, it was thrown away within the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the game, half an hour, definitely half time, 100%. Naturally, in the second half, I'm sure Mikel Arteta and the players, they're going to be urging, to keep going and not dropping the standards. And I don't think anybody dropped the standards. But naturally, your foot is going to be off the gas. You've scored a lot of goals. It's great. Lens aren't really challenging you. Yeah, towards the end, they had a couple of maybe opportunities they could have taken advantage of, where Gabriel did well, and being at the Emirates, it was lovely to see him, as happy to get that clean sheet. Saliba, I don't know if Lens and Marseille, there's a bit of beef there, but Saliba on the best of days loves celebrations and that, but it seemed like with every goal he was going crazy. In fact, a Declan Rice goal would have been lovely, and he's quality. I think everyone had a good game, man. Defensively we weren't tested. I think Gabriel and Saliba done well. I think Tomiyasu did very well. Nice to see Benjamin White back as well. Nice to see Kirill get some minutes. Obviously, I do think we could play even better. I do think we could have probably scored 7. I do think we could have kept being a bit more ferocious in the second half. I'm probably demanding a bit too much, but it's them kind of standards there. If you can get 10, go out there and get 10. But naturally, we're going to get complacent. We're going to probably, fans, Mikel Arteta, because he probably wouldn't have taken off Saka if the circumstances were different. We all know we don't want to really take off Saka. Gonna have an eye on Wolves, and it's lovely that the job was done. As we know, the Wolves game, I hope we win it, but that will be the 3rd game in a big week for Arsenal Football Club, where it's, out of 3 games, 2 games are down. Sorry, we've dealt with Lens in dramatic fashion, obviously equally dramatic fashion for different reasons. We got a result against a resilient Brentford side, and Wolves is going to be a different test. While I like the optimism, while I like the feel good factor, we're top of the Champions League group, and I don't look at the Premier League table, but allegedly top there, and we still would like to go up gears. I don't know what it is, man. Obviously in the Premier League, primarily how teams set up against us obviously is at our detriment to allowing us to play free-flowing football. But if we can marry how we are or have been defensively this season and how we are in the middle third to a degree with whatever we're doing in the Champions League to score these goals, because with goals or not, we look a lot more threatening, we look a lot more potent. If we can marry all this together and obviously do a couple of other things that need to happen, but hey, nobody's talking to us really. And, we're one of the most informed teams in Europe as a whole, and where this Champions League is concerned, that as well. But We ain't achieved nothing yet. It's not done yet. The job isn't done yet. So you just have to keep going. Big up the Twitch ones, man. No one on Twitch seems to be sleeping, man. All of you lot in the cut. Havertz hitting form at the right time. Do you know what? You know, it's two good games. Obviously, dramatic impact off the bench against Brentford. Done well today, Havertz. Havertz even doing a 1-2 skills and that. And that's what I mean from Kai Havertz, you know. I don't think you take enough risks. I think because you just want to have a decent game, you're playing it too safe. And arguably, you know, that doesn't make you thrive, but he's full of confidence. Lovely to see, you know, the Emirates singing his song and that. Lovely to obviously see him score. I think he was good, man. His intensity, he's making them fouls. Obviously, he's paid to make the difference. He scored. I don't know if he was involved in what led to the penalty, because obviously Arsenal were attacking the end. I was like nearest to in the first half. In the second half, we're attacking oppositely. So I couldn't really see. So I have to watch the game again in the morning. I'm not really sure there, or if Havertz was involved there. But it was lovely to see, really. And I do think, you know, Newcastle, ultimately we lost the game. I do think of recent Havertz has not quite turned the corner, but he's done okay. He did all right. He was one of our best player against West Ham away. He did relatively okay in a disappointing Newcastle game. There's definitely a game in and around that he did well as well. But in the last two games in particular, he's made the difference, and he doesn't look like a charity case. And we're doing our thing, man. You know, I heard United drop points against Galatasaray, so Gala did us a favor. Hopefully Bayern Munich do not rest players, and Harry Kane is trying his best to probably, you know, break some sort of Messi stat for goals in a calendar year or something, really. You know, I hope they put them to the sword, man. Brother, look at this, man. We played so free, so less restrictive. I'm glad Arteta finally got the memo after he struggled so much at the start of this season. I do think there was probably, you know, naturally when you play at home, you want to be a bit more entertaining and things like that. But I don't necessarily think that was our free-flowing best. It was cutting edge. Obviously, to a degree, it was. We scored 6 goals and we was ferocious, and definitely in the first half of an Arsenal game. But I do think a lot of it is down to how teams in Europe set up versus in the Premier League. But at the same time, Mikel Arteta is paid to find solutions. And you look at any team, you know, Jose Mourinho's, they might not be known as a goal-scoring team, but they won the league, so they had to score enough goals. You look at the City side, the Chelsea sides, the Arsenal sides, you know, the Spurs sides, just joking, they've never did it. Any team that's won a Premier League, you know, you need to be able to defend, but you need to find a way to score goals. These teams, these teams have potent threats. You're not going to give them space. You're going to try and be restrictive. We know times have changed, but the premise remains the same, essentially. So Arteta has to find reasons. I don't know what it is in the Champions League. Maybe it's a thing where, you know, the bulk of these players work so hard to qualify. Champions League nights are special. You know, it's the pinnacle of club football, really, really and truly. So maybe it's a bit of that. Maybe it's a bit that we're playing at home. Maybe it's the cultural differences, as I keep saying, between how Prem sides and other sides set up. Maybe there's some psychological factors. I don't know. But I agree with you that this is what we want to see, really and truly, you know. Near enough, fair enough, Trossard for Havertz, you know, you would probably say the Brentford team, or based on how we went into that game, was a lot more, probably a bit, because of that change, you know, that came in today, was probably a better attacking side. But without getting into the nuts and bolts of it, just for you guys to humor me, the team in the final third today and the team in the final third against Brentford, beyond the obvious, two very different sides. And as I said, if we can take that form over there, it'd be great, man. Big up GG. The Emirates knew you were there and gave you the show you deserve. Great night for the Gunners. Great night, man, because I saw a lot of you guys, you know, it's crazy. And you lot, yeah, man, I have to try harder with this content thing, man. You know, just the amount of positive words and people saluting the guy. It was lit, obviously, you know, to be sat like, I'm basically here. You lot can't see the green screen, but 21 Savage is right there. Obviously, man, I had to get that picture and that. Obviously, no fanboy thing, but optics and whatnot, people. But yeah, man, he's there. Starboy settings, man, really and truly. You know, our Starboys are doing it. Was just at your premiere earlier, but now I'm live at your stream. I appreciate that, my guy. It is surreal, and it's 8 p.m. in America. Big up you lot, man. You got to, man. Cameron, I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your appreciation, man. There is no excuse. We were playing shit. We also lost to the team. We just put 6 in with a clean sheet. We changed tactics. I mean, if I go back to the Lens game at home, you know, psychologically, I don't think we was in the right place. We made dumb mistakes. We didn't early on in that game convert the possession into chances. We shot ourselves in the foot with defensive mistakes. And I think a bit like us, they're playing in their manner, innit? Like, I'm not gonna lie, almost, you know, the Emirates atmosphere over the last 18 months, 2 years has improved dramatically, or really and truly since Mikel Arteta walked in. some fans will say it's not quite what it was last season, maybe because Asperton Army's allocation has been cut. But I'm not going to sit here and lie. At the Emirates, I saw it with PSV last season in the Europa League. You can hear, like, you don't really need to be the noisiest of away fans to really make yourself known. But I have to give credit to the Lens fans, man. As I said, from the start, they were making bare noise. When they got slaughtered, they were making bare noise. Obviously, I don't condone the flares and all of those things, health and safety and whatnot, but it was a really good European night for a bunch of reasons. DG still working hard at this hour. Calvin, you got to, man. Appreciate you lot. How did I find the game, K? I think we've been speaking about. I do want to watch the game on TV, man, because when you're at the game, it's not that you don't see the build-up, because we're not a direct side, but I do think to a degree we've added that directness. We kind of saw it lead to at least one of the first 3 goals, or 2 of the first 3 goals. I think goal 1 and 2, I think they were a result of long balls. I could be wrong, but we saw that in this game at some point. We saw it against Chelsea when we got back in it. We actually saw it against Sevilla. There's elements of going long, and that for me was probably beyond the obvious. The thing I liked the most watching today, if I'm completely honest, man, it's like we were suckering them in, like they're trying to press us high. Obviously, we're setting up in starting positions. The midfield is dropping, and at times you're just gambling. And obviously, Kai Havertz is playing. Obviously, on paper, Jesus is a striker, but at times it's like there's 2 up front. Jesus is free to be a little kid in a sweet shop and run around and do that Gabriel Jesus thing. Kai Havertz is coming into midfield and just offering a physical threat. But yeah, I did think it was a bit of a stalemate, and it's a weird one because we scored 6 goals. It was champagne football. It was amazing, and I think everyone's 8s and 9s and 10s out of 10s, but it weren't really. It's a weird one because I think we can give more in an attacking sense. Maybe not score 6 goals every game, but I think we didn't really turn it on like that. Really started. We knew we'd just get in a positive way. We'd just get through this, and I'm happy to see that we smelt blood. So it's a bit of a weird one, man. How did you lot find the game? If you haven't smashed the like button, make sure you're doing such, folks, and all of that good stuff. DG, you need to attend games more often until we get hammered by the same scoreline. And you lot say, keep yourself on YouTube, mate. But I hear it, man. We keep competing, man. As I said, I don't know where we are in the Premier League table. I don't look at the table, but so far, so good. And I think the most positive thing is we think we can go up several gears and several layers and several levels. And obviously, rightly or wrongly, whether he's able to do it or not, Mikel Arteta clearly believes that as well. I think I don't know him, and I can't speak for an ex-man. Definitely one I don't know. But if you was to ask Arteta this season, do we think Arsenal have peaked? Is he necessarily happy with everything? Does he think we're at our absolute maximum of every fragment of this team? The answer would be no. So I think that's the most positive thing, in that we've definitely said these sort of stuff over the last few years in worse circumstances, really. Like, we're out of the League Cup, which I think, yeah, you can, it's not the biggest of cups and things, but we're in it to win it. It is a cup at the end of the day. And with City going out, I think at the time of us going out, it was a good opportunity, but we're still in 3 comps, really. The FA Cups are coming to play at the turn of the year. I would love to win a major honour. Lord knows I'd love the Premier League. It's been too long. If you think a wait for another Premier League title has been far too long, then the fact that we haven't won a Champions League, or a club like this doesn't have the strongest of European pedigree. And unfortunately, when you think of this club, when you think of Europe, the word disappointment comes to mind. I don't want to talk about 2006. I definitely don't want to talk about the Europa League game against Chelsea. And some of you that are older than me have seen us lose more finals than you care to remember, as I said. But, I'd love to dream of the Champions League. Anything can happen. If we take Inter Milan as inspiration, I know it was a very different Arsenal side, but for those of you who are 28 and maybe a bit younger, definitely older, when we got to the final in 2006, no one gave us a chance in the group stages. They said we're going out against Villarreal. They said we're going out against Juventus. They said we had no chance playing Real Madrid and beating them, let alone the team we rocked up with, that back line. And obviously times have changed, but you never know where belief could take you. And as I said, as Edu said, let's enjoy the competition. I want Arsenal to clearly win it if we could, but there's a lot of big teams in it and we need to be easy. But give a good account of ourselves, man. We've put ourselves in the best position. We're top of the group. We don't know who we're going to get. You're hoping on a Lazio. Respectfully, every game's difficult, but you're hoping on a Lazio. Based on the Celtic highlights, you look like lunch meat. I back ourselves against PSG, if I'm honest. Yeah, we have elements of self-capitulation and they've got killing and brazy, but if Newcastle could do it respectfully, why can't we? We're young and we're disciplined to a degree. This is what a good team does. I heavily disagree. We faced low blocks last season just as much, but we played differently last season. Like I said before, we changed this season and it didn't work. Now we changed again. Listen, I agree with you in that we found a way to cut teams open, really. So we need to find a way again, really. You're like the Saka of the social media thing. I wish. It's simple as that. Pep was also kind of ish at the start of last season. Then he went on a roll after we found the right way to play with Haaland. I do think we're playing low blocks though. But again, whether we're playing low blocks or not in football, no matter how you shape it, the goal is to keep balls at the back of your net, which are domestic clean sheets looks well. But ultimately, no matter how you want to play football, you know, if I just say random names, Jose, Wenger, Pep, Conte, I don't know why he's in my head, pause, but Villas-Boas, no matter who, yeah, all these managers think of Carlo Ancelotti, all of them think of football in different ways. What's important, what's the most important asset of football might be the least important to another. But I agree, the ball, you know, you need to put the ball in the back of the net and win games. It's simple as that. No matter what you're aspiring to, you know, you need to score more than your opposition. So we need to find a way, man. Everyone expects stardom as soon as they show talent. I hear that. I saw you in it, DG. That was awesome that they had you here. Big up to Arsenal for inviting the dude, man. Arsenal are starting to embody that energy. I hear that, man. I hear that. It is on Arsenal. Well, in relation to my appearance on Arsenal.com, it's on Arsenal's YouTube channels, man. Have to be awake, man. Serious graveyard shift, man. Oh boy, we have waited for Havertz to start clicking in this team. Listen, it's not really 2 weeks, but it's a good couple of days. Havertz is best. Well, you know what? He won a trophy in August, English Super Cup and that. So I don't know what Kai Havertz would say. But definitely for me as an ignorant supporter of the club, I would say this has definitely been your best couple of days in an Arsenal shirt, home and away. As I said, you got your first goal at the Emirates. You got another goal from open play. And I think everybody had a good game. Isolating it to Kai Havertz, he had a very good game. But it's 2 games now. I do think he's had more good games than that. But 2 standout games with standout moments and actions. So hopefully it continues, man. I told y'all that Havertz is going to call at Arsenal. I think you mean Cook at Arsenal once he plays with the handbrake up. Big up DG for the cameo on AFTV fan roundup. I went on a fan roundup, but I appreciate that. And yeah, we just hope it works with Havertz. At the end of the day, you know, you can either make Mikel Arteta look like a genius or, forgive me, or an idiot. If somehow Kai Havertz maintains this form and gets better and the conversations we have about Kai Havertz are not being said, then Arteta looks like a genius, really. So hopefully it works, really. Hopefully his initial Arsenal career is just rainy season in what is going to be a long-filled, sunny career at this football club, man. Good game. So this is what happens when teams open up. Been a theme since the United game. This is why teams play compact against us. Are we live? I can't believe DG is up this late broadcasting. Got to put a shift in for my subscribers, man. We need Man U to drop into Europa to keep them playing during the week. James, I'm here for that. You know, you're a lot more evil than me. I would love that, but you know, could you imagine Ten Hag saying errors come to an end, getting slapped up and down the country, going out of the Champions League? You know, let's not forget, you know, some United fans were waffling after we lost to them in pre-season, man. And I ain't watched the highlights, but I heard Onana did that madness. I told you, you're not getting anywhere with keepers that look like that. Allow me, I'm allowed to say it, man. Lens away game, no Martinelli. We didn't play well there and had to deal with a 3-5-2. The Brentford game was good prep for Lens. That's true. But Lens, I don't think just because someone sets up with a back 3 or a back 5, not saying you said this, necessarily is playing negative. I don't think they were compact as and all of those things as we expect in the Prem. But they had 5 defenders. Either way, you still got to break that down. And it weren't the prettiest of game. Yeah, the goals will be in the highlights. But I don't think if you watch the 90 minutes, there's too many standard moments, really. But we did the job. I'm not criticizing us. Would you take the Prem over the Champions League if you had to win one and lose the other? Which one would you take? Champions League. We ain't won it. You think anyone could talk to you? I'll really live up to this deluded name if we win champs. They'll try water down our thing and clubs that have won it more than once. So, you know, say you've got your first ever bad beat and you're moving mad. But you think anyone could talk to me if we win champs? Do you know how unbearable I'd be? Especially if, well, it'd have to be with Saka and Martinelli. You know how, you know, you shouldn't just use trophies as an argument. But imagine just turning around and saying Saka's best in the world. He's won champs. Martinelli champs. Kai Havertz, another champs. Shameless agendas, man, our champs. That's the pinnacle of club football. Don't get twisted. We need a Prem, but this club should have, you know, we've always underperformed in Europe, man. We've got European trophies, of course, but we've always underperformed, man. This club is too big of a club to not have won a Champions League. And the sins of 2006 in Paris still pains a lot of players that made my childhood. I wanted to cry when I heard Freddie Longberg, or I caught up with the, sorry, I'm just taking off my jacket. I wanted to cry when I heard Freddie Longberg speaking about he still stays up at night thinking about the Champions League game. Champions League, bro. The Prem's lit, but bro, no one for that year, no matter how you do it, yeah, even when Chelsea did it under Avram Grant, no one could talk to you. You won the pinnacle of club football. You are, for a point, the best team in Europe. Statistically, we're one of the best teams in Europe, you know, based on what we're doing domestically and also in Champions League. And we have really, I'm not saying we've been the best, but we've definitely been one of the most informed teams in the last 2 years. Champions. Good on you, brother. This is why you were missing. Lucky you at the game. I had to, man. Normal service on Saturday resumes, man. DG stays working, writing down the tactics for the upload later. I'm sure you've seen my Instagram, man. Big up a menu. Like when Lens hit the post, which was probably one of the only chances they had, if anything, because we shut up shop. Obviously, I was writing down these notes, man. Like, you got to write down notes, man. Got to write down notes. Tommy's pass was brazy. Lens pushed up. We play around and over them. They didn't want to give up the middle, so we went over and over. I'm not going to lie. There was a couple of occasions, yeah, going back to the Emirates, like, Martinelli frequently is in a lot of space. A lot of space. I even think this is what I mean about not really game management, but like obviously when we've won the game and, you know, Lens are a bit flat, they're not really offering much really. They had a couple of shots and goal scoring opportunities, but, you know, Martinelli kind of running into blind alleys, you know, players probably doing too much, enjoying it a bit, if I'm honest. Not gonna lie, there was a couple times early on, and I'm not trying to cherry pick. A couple players I wouldn't say they lack courage because they didn't, but a couple man are ducking out of 50-50s. I hear it. You don't want to get injured in that, but allow that, man. We ain't got time for that. Shout yourself, Ken. Shout to you lot, man. You lot getting on to me about not sleeping. None of you was sleeping. Big up to everyone who's got to get up in a couple hours, man. But yeah, the whole squad is coming together. Yeah, man, I like the fact that we're sharing the goals. You know, Jorginho, when it comes to penalties, I hope the Italian press have picked up on that because he's missed a lot of penalties. Well, lots an exaggeration and a couple was an exaggeration, but he's missed quite a few penalties recently for Italy. So he showed them maybe, I can take it. It looked like you bullied Ødegaard off it from where I was sitting, but you know, if Ødegaard gave it to you a bit like Havertz, then I love that. Lovely to see Ødegaard's bagged. Obviously, the Star Boys go without saying, and Jesus is an enigma because you're like R9 in Champions League nights. Don't get twisted, you're lit in the Prem, but like Champions League nights, I don't know what possesses our whole squad, but Gabriel Jesus in particular, really and truly. How was Havertz today? Missed the game. Very good. Everyone was good, man. Everyone was good. I think Havertz, if I had to force it, I actually think Havertz would probably be one of my standouts. Tommy Asu, a couple of good actions as well. I think Jesus did well. I think Kai Havertz, I think in all his actions, when he's playing as a striker, when he's dropping deep, you know, in the second half, he had a great bit of skill in the wide left-hand channel near their area. Obviously, he scored. Ultimately, that's all that matters as well. Probably say Kai Havertz. I think Jesus was good. The whole team, man. I think it was one of them where we were amazing, but everyone weren't amazing and we weren't amazing. That doesn't make sense. But if you watch the game and really in the first half and the second half, you know what I'm talking about. But I think everyone did 8s and upwards, really. I did see when, I don't know if social media picked up on it, but there's a moment Raya's got the ball and, it happens, innit? You know, when you've gone to, when you get aired for a spud or a high five and that Gabriel was so focused on the game, he aired him, but I like it to a degree, man. I big up a menu. He's moving like AirPods out, but writing notes. Hey, he caught me live in the act, man. Great camera work from you today, though, man. Facts, DG. We need that Champions League in the cabinet. I mean, why can't we scheme on the double, man? Why can't we be a team that's won the treble, man? I'm full of hella optimism. I'll be the worst person to be around if we win the champs. Hate it when Chelsea fans throw that at me. They've won it twice, man. No hot pen from Georgie. Loves it. Do you think this form will transfer to the league? I mean, you could argue it's been there, innit? Obviously, we embarrassed ourselves in the League Cup. That was a blip. I don't think we was terrible against Newcastle, but we lacked the cutting edge and the ability to ultimately score. And obviously, we've lost in this very competition as well. Let's remember so long ago because it's been a near enough perfect thing. I think there is consistency in our form. Ultimately, we're winning games and stuff now in the final third for things we've alluded to. I hope everything, but I hope specifically in the final third that can carry to the league. But whether it's low blocks, whether it's Arteta's demands, whatever it is or things it isn't quite there in the Prem, man. 7, 8, 9, 29 and 11 who scored. It's lit, man. It's lit. It's lit. That type of goal from Martinelli is something I hope we're going to see a lot more of this season. Hope so, man. If we could score some scruffy goals, or these players can, that probably adds an extra 5, 10 to your to your collective and individual tallies at the end of the year, man. Don't forget 20. So we were good, but still not smooth. Yeah, man. Like, I don't think I was blown away by the patterns of playing things. And I'm not trying to criticize Arsenal because listen, if we can play like that and every week, I'm here for this 6 goals where we could do more. But yeah, man. But I do like the fact Lens played with fire. They got burnt. We was given opportunity. Like Amenya was there, sat next to me, and echoed the same things, man. And yeah, man. Yeah. I want to see this team when Timber and Partey are back with health. We can rotate. I hear that, man. But is there ever going to be an ideal squad where everybody's kind of fit? Now, probably since Arteta's come in, really and truly. Like, we got to remember, only a couple of years ago, we used to celebrate any day in a calendar year where statistically every Arsenal player is in training and fit. But in an ideal world, especially a team that wants to fight on all trophies, is it feasible for everyone to be fit? And if they are fit, to be playing without any little knocks and niggles and things of that ilk? I don't know. You can't play smooth against tactically well-drilled teams. Just make and take the moment of executed actions, which is what we did. I agree, but disagree. I think you can still kind of play smooth because under Arsene Wenger, this is how things were happening. Obviously, times change, but I agree with the statement. You're right. Ultimately, just get the job done, man. You know, if we can win like we did against Brentford on a regular basis, I'm happy. If we can win like how we could win tonight, I'm happy. But there's things that we could do better. You know, obviously, Arteta is a man that wants to do better and is chasing the illusion of perfection. But even he is going to struggle isolated to this 90 minutes for things that we can improve on isolated to this game and stuff like that. If we could play like we did and go to Top Gear, we'd probably have scored 12. I wanted 7. I know I'm being spoiled, but you can ask him, you're at 4 and at 5. I was like, yo, I think we're going to get 7, you know, because that would have been good. This is probably one of the greatest nights in Arsenal's Emirates history in the Champions League, and probably isolated to the 90 minutes in our club's history as a total. I wouldn't say it's the most epic game I've seen with us. You know, in Europe, I've seen us play very well against Napoli. I've seen us play very well against Barcelona and Bayern Munich at the carpet. So, yeah. So who gets the Ishi VAR calls this weekend? Us or Wolves? Boy, they owe Gary O'Neill in it. What do you think about not bringing on any kids? I think a lot's being made unnecessarily, if I'm honest. I think, yeah, I would have liked to see them and stuff like that. But in Arteta's defense, you know, they're not going to play on a regular basis in the Premier League. He probably wants to make changes, you know, appropriate to that. Needs to remain disciplined and stuff, and all the demands he set before the game are maintained throughout the game. And also, he's within his rights to use his squad rightly or wrongly, however much it is. You know, there's no divine right because you're on the bench that you need to come on. The very fact that them 2 young men have been called up on the bench is testament to what they're doing in it, and that's a privilege in itself. That being said, as I said earlier, Arteta, come on, man, they could have got some minutes there. Probably not at half time, but you could have ran one of them at half time, and it would have been lovely to see Ethan, of course. But it would have been lovely to see Miles get a game in midfield, really, just so you can see, you know, that if they came off the bench, that's the biggest game they've played in, regardless of the context, just to see what it's about. But I mean, they were on the bench, they saw you know, how the fans were, they saw the game, they saw, you know, whether you're at the game or not, it just feels like Champions League nights when kickoff happens, there's something different in the air. So I would have loved to have seen them, man. And I do want to see Mikel Arteta get his Haaland statistics up and give debuts. I mean, he has given young Sego Jr. a debut this season. But yeah, man, I don't really think Mikel Arteta is on the youngster thing like that. Like, you know, I do think he will tap into Haaland, and a couple of players have been on the bench or on the cusp. But I don't think it's a Wenger thing where, you know, everyone's going to get. I think if you impress him and you show your lit, he's on that. But I don't think, you know, I think there's other priorities. Will we see the young boys versus PSV in some way as it's in the bag? You'd imagine they get minutes off the bench. I don't expect to see 7, 8, 9, 10 changes. There could be logic to doing that with, you know, resting players in a condensed fixture calendar list. But I don't expect to see that. He wants to remain competitive. Complacency is a killer. We know the last game in the group is a dead rubber. It don't affect us. But to be honest, I don't know what PSV are playing for. You'd imagine there's Europa League / potentially second place coming through. They're still going to be competitive. We are going to their backyard. And anytime you switch off in football, you're made to pay for it. So, but if he did want to make changes, you know, Ramsdale, I don't know, right? I might still play, but, you know, I do think Ramsdale deserves Champions League minutes in some capacity. So in a dead rubber, I'll give him his Champions League, you know, appearance. They're 16. They have time. Tell him again, man. Big Gabby and Rice was bossing it. Big up, Big Gabby especially. Listen, I mentioned Gabby. I don't think he's ever going to get his flowers. He's not a sexy footballer, like not to Saliba's lit, but Gabriel, I do think he's a very good footballer. He's cutting out the bozo gene moments. He still does it. He is a very good passer, especially when we're trying to break lines. And I think he's very good on the ball. But he's not got the grace of Saliba. He's not sexy as Saliba. I think, well, all inclusive. If you swing that way, you swing that way. But I think if he was to show all the female whips, you can't even say that. Women Arsenal fans, don't cancel me. Women Arsenal fans, I'm sure Saliba's shirt will sell a lot more. But Gabriel's a lovely player. And one thing that I would say in the modern game, it sounds stupid, but how many defenders actually are out there that you get the vibe without knowing them that like defending, that relish that? I think Gabriel's one of them, and him and Saliba have a great partnership operating out there. Ramsdale v PSV, I'm not really against rotating. Neither am I, but I don't want to get battered out there, man. But yeah, it would be nice to rest players, You'd imagine if Smith Rowe is back fit, obviously Fabio Vieira, we've seen the news in the last 24, 48 hours that he's had minor groin surgery, so he's out for a couple of weeks. To be fair, do we even have the squad to rotate? Who is actually fit? But you'd imagine potentially an El Nene gets a start there, and things like that. It must be weird for Lens. They competed, but then we made actions, then scored. Lens competed, we made actions, then scored. Every engagement ended bad. Social joins, you need to join me. You've summed it up perfectly there. What more can I add? He celebrated that clean sheet like a goal. My defender. That was one of the best moments of me being at the game, if I'm honest with you, is towards the end, like just switched on and happy, and they all count. You got to be able to do that. Defense wins titles and whatnot. He's not easy on the eye. He doesn't have the aesthetics. Saliba is the favorite son, and Gabriel doesn't get enough credit. Gabriel's like the firstborn. Saliba's treated like the youngest and the grandson, which was me. I am the youngest. Will there be a live show tomorrow? If there's something to talk about, and if I have time, but you'll definitely get a video with the different knock. I've asked some Arsenal fans that I've had contribute to my channel, give me their opinions on the game, so I'm gonna add them all together and get that out. Make a little match day vlog for you lot. I am trying to get my December. I need to probably record it on Friday, but it's obviously with the end of the month, and what a game to technically end the month with. I like to react over the month and preview the next month to come. So there'll be content, man. It's lovely to do a live stream and just talk about football rather than, we're going to kill Mbappe and all of these things, but I appreciate that. And technically, I've got one today. Off topic, but thoughts on holding back in Jan? I'm only prepared. I guess if I'm interpreting that question correctly, and holding back means, not necessarily moving for or addressing an area in our team that could be addressed. For me personally, I would only be prepared to somewhat accept that if it's in terms of up front and out wide, really, because I do think, obviously, if you can make smart additions, do it in it. But I think up front, we need a game changer. And I don't know who that is, but I don't know who's available in January. So I'm prepared to part that off rightly or wrongly into the summer. Indirectly, I agree with that same sentiment I just said with a wide man, not in midfield. I don't think we've got enough midfield options. I think it's very scary, that I still feel like this. I'm not really confident in our collective midfield options. And it's not a bit of it's to do with ability. I would like another number 6. I would like another 8. But I just feel with Thomas Partey's injury issues, and if he was fit tomorrow, we're only gonna we would have him for a packed December. But he's gonna go off to the African Cup of Nations, potentially in January. I think we're too weak there, man. I haven't come to the carpet. So yeah, man, I think we need a midfielder. Without a doubt, it has to be. If there's one area we address in Jan, it has to be a midfielder, man. Really and truly, what do I know? But I don't think we can afford not to, man. I really don't, and that'll probably be the only thing that can keep me up, man, really. And you know what, you kind of spoiled my mood indirectly, man. I don't really want to think about the games and months to come, man. I just want to enjoy right now, really. Games like this, yeah, God forbid. But in the grand scheme of things, this result might not mean anything if we don't advance to the latter stages and give a good account of ourselves or potentially win it. But the last minute winners against Brentford, the performances like this, just entertained by 6 goals. This is what we live for in football, man. These are the moments, really. And every fan, not just us, supporting Arsenal. DG, do we have to promote Ethan and MLS in the first team? Not necessarily, because I don't think neither player, as great as they are ready for immediate Premier League football. Respectfully, I think they're both good footballers, but it's not like you've got a young Bukayo Saka or a young Jack Wilshere. Them kind of players are exceptions to the rule. I think they will be ready. I think by the time they're both 18, I expect to see them rubbing consistent shoulders within the first team. But just slow cook, let them develop, and we'll be all right, man. They've both got a lot to work on, really, and that's why I would have loved to have seen Miles come off the bench, because he's a very good midfielder, but sometimes I think he can get caught on the ball. Now, obviously, in professional football at the highest level in the Champions League, which he might as well be playing a prime Barcelona, because you ain't done that. You just have to see the speed and how your teammates do things, and just the speed of the game, and really you don't get much time to think. Midfield more important than a striker right now. Midfield is where we have least depth right now. I think they're both of equal importance, but if Arteta said, I ain't gonna lie, we need to sign a couple of positions, but we could only sign one, what do you suggest, DG? For me, midfield, they're all of equal importance. If we turn around and buy a striker, whoever it is, a winger, whoever it is, and a centre mid, I'm laughing. I think another centre back / potentially another quote unquote utility player, someone of, to a degree, Kirill, but I would say the best poster boys for my example is Timber and Tomiyasu, left back, centre half if required, and right back. If we can bring one of them in, we're laughing. Probably need to add a number 2 goalie, probably one for the summer, but probably need to add a number 2 goalie on the wish list, because you'd imagine between Raya and Ramsdale, what's going on here can't carry on. Are we in FFP problems, or can we spend? I'm no finance man, but everybody's got to tread carefully where FFP is concerned, broski. But where there's creative accounting and people that are paid to do that, things can happen. Obviously we're wary of it because we didn't buy Raya outright. I'm sure before he signed that new deal and moved on loan to Arsenal, he had a year left. And Spurs and I think Bayern Munich tried to go for him. It didn't happen. He had a year left at that point. I'm sure Brentford would have wanted to move him on permanently, but we gave them something that they couldn't refuse. But who knows if the Kroenkes inject finances? Who knows, man? But I do anticipate it will kind of be a January like last year, where you might get a Jorginho who's got a foot out the door for an affordable fee. Trossard kind of the same, because days were numbered at Brighton, and obviously Kiri only cost 20 odd million quid. Also, how did you survive with this cold? It was brazy, man. I was brazy. I can't lie. I had my scarf on. Let me get my scarf to reenact. I had my scarf on for the majority out there. Like, I was just like that. Well, definitely not like this, but just like that. And where possible, the ears and that. I didn't use my hood, but I'm not gonna lie. It weren't initially. I didn't feel that cold. Maybe I was pumped up. I was wearing the jacket. I took off. I was calm. Really, I weren't ever outside like this. It would have been too mad. But I would have been lovely, to do my thing. But wait, I ain't got my number on this. Since when? So you swear I ain't got DG13? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Emirates still. Right? That's crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go to it and get that sorted, because don't feel the same. Almost lost my trail of thought. But yeah, in the first half, maybe because everyone was pumped up and stuff like that, I didn't feel cold. Second half, when I walked out to sit back down in my seat, boy. So yeah, man, we're here. Not gonna lie, the face mask is nice during winter times. I had my snood. I didn't pull it on, but I had my snood, and I had a hat thing just in case. But it's more just my hands. Not liking it, but Smith Rowe, Ramsdale may go to fund us. I mean, you look at it. How many players can really bring a significant fee to this football club? That's why I think, rightly or wrongly, with the spending we was doing in the summer, that's why they said, you know what, Balogun, he's played 10 times for Arsenal Football Club. He's getting a name in Europe. The striker market is rubbish. Let's get that money in. I do think in the summer, I would love to see Smith Rowe stay, but that could be a chance to just get a decent fee. Ramsdale could go for a decent fee. I don't expect to see Eddie Nketiah and Reece Nelson leave, but if we were to bring a striker and a winger in, then these are guys that could be quote unquote disposable. Tierney's a quality player, but there's got to be a reason. Maybe there would, but to me as a fan who don't know nothing, but they didn't seem like there was permanent offers, or Arsenal probably would have attempted to sell him permanently, but that wasn't forthcoming, or offers that weren't acceptable. So yeah, man, you'd imagine Tierney, we should at least be breaking even with Tierney. I suspect we'll take some sort of a hit, and maybe more of a hit, because you'd imagine Celtic have a sell-on clause. In fact, you never know. Arteta might use him next year. Thomas Partey, I think we'll get some money, but it won't be anything near to what we spent. But the club might look at it and say, it's a chance to take them wages off the wage bill, really, because we have spent a lot of money and also renewed a lot of contracts. But they could be. But a lot can change in the season, man. If these guys, if Eddie starts bagging, that saw him earn that deal. If Nelson does a madness, if Smith Rowe gets in and does a madness, God forbid, but if Raya's form falls off a cliff, Ramsdale gets an opportunity, if Partey shows his quality and has a strong end to the season, then what we're saying now in November, last day of November, Happy New Year, Happy New Month, man said New Year, definitely Happy New Year, but Happy New Month in advance, people. But Things can change. Not a single squad member sells for less other than Cedric and Mo. Big up El Nene, man. But boy, I forget Cedric's at the club sometimes. He's living the dream. Ramsdale needs to be sold for more than we paid. Amen. Because the next club he'll go to, I don't think you're going to go new. You could. And if Newcastle bid for you, I would go if I was him. But you've got Pope there. He's been linked with Chelsea. You've got Sanchez there. Some people say, you know what, could he go Bayern Munich? They've just given 2 goalkeepers new deals. It seems like you might have to take a step down. Forgive me, and defo forgive me because we got you like the weekend, but he's been linked with Wolves. Might have to take a step to a club like that. And then when the dominoes fall, because I do think if Ramsdale leaves Arsenal, I do think he'll play for another top 6 team at some point in the future. And in an ideal world, I wouldn't want to sell Ramsdale because Raya's made, not anytime soon, and he's just signed for the club, but he's made no secret of wanting to go back to Spain. I won't cap. I ain't accepting anything lower than 40 for Ramsdale with Sanchez going for 25 and Onana going for 47 to United. I can't lie, man. With him being English and it's not really, it's what you can hustle. I think we should be pushing for 50 for Ramsdale, really. If you could get a keeper that's more of what Mikel Arteta wants, similar to what City did with Ortega, then it is what it is, really. But I do think we need to, you know, he's an England international. Obviously, he looks like the toy that, you know, in Toy Story where Woody grows up or he gets other toys and he don't care about them. But he helped us get Champions League. He's made a number of great saves that were in the Premier League highlights last season. He's PFA nominee for Team of the Year and ever present, really, and central to our system. It's only because Raya's come in unexpectedly and flipped it on its head. But yeah, man, I think Ramsdale is a starting quality Premier League keeper, and it's, you know, we've got a few of them. You know, Leno's left, he's doing his thing at Fulham. Martinez has become a World Cup winner. He's over there at Aston Villa. Matt Turner's been dropped, I think, at some point, but over there at Nottingham Forest. And there's probably someone I've forgotten. Speaking of Onana, he's like a meme now. If you check the match photo of him, he's looking like he's cuddled up crying with the Gala player's leg. Rambo needs 1 game at least for us in the Champions League versus PSG. If Arsenal sell Ramsdale for 25, I know we're never getting money for selling players like that. I mean, we need to probably get better at selling as a club. You know, Balogun was a good sell. Iwobi was a good sell. Joe Willett was a good sell. You know, I don't want us to be Chelsea and buying 1 million players, but we probably need to start doing them cute and clever things. A bit like Austin Trusty. Like, we've had him here for 18 months. Not a massive profit, but he's not kicked a ball for our club. He's had a good loan spell. Sold, keep it moving. Like, that's what we need to do, really and truly, if I'm honest, or start doing stuff like that. Oh, PSV. I thought you meant latter stages, man. I actually think we could smoke Real Madrid. Listen, I hear it, optimistic. Let's just stay calm. We don't know what the climate in terms of players available. We don't know the variables that are going to happen in the game. You know, we should believe we could take anyone on at home. And I guess away from home, we've done all right. But, you know, really this season, away from home, even though I don't know where I stand on it this season, but I still somewhat believe Arsenal we look a lot more professional away from home. But away from home is where the disappointments have come. Yes, that, you know, Spurs, we shanked ourselves in the foot. Fulham, we shanked ourselves in the foot. But one of the worst 45 minutes I've watched with my football club this year was the first 45 minutes at Stamford Bridge. Obviously, we lost to West Ham in the League Cup. Newcastle, I don't think it was a terrible performance, but we lost. That was away from home. You know, Brentford, it was smash and grab. You know, they didn't make it easy for us, but it was a bit of a stalemate and we got it done. So if anything, you know, in the Champions League, hey, I believe in theory we could give everyone a game and potentially, if certain things are right, beat anybody at the Emirates at this moment in time. You know, we beat the current treble winners in Premier League as well as Champions League holders at our place, really, and kept a clean sheet. It's the away games, man. I don't know how we're going to deal with the Bernabeu. You know, we've taken the Champions League group stage by storm. You know, for some of these players, these are the first career appearances in the Champions League and stuff. But we just have to cool, man. This cold ain't for the still. Sorry to change the subject, but I feel very sorry for the home. I mean, you have to count your blessings, man. You know, you really have to. And, you know, having warmth as a human is underrated, man. The game against Chelsea was the worst to me. But then again, I look at the West Ham game. Then obviously away from home against Lens. I don't think that was our worst game, but we just were on nonsense. Think Havertz is kicking on from this or just lucky. To be fair, you earn your luck. You know, he started trying things and like putting himself about and playing with a bit more confidence. You know, so he's made that run. He weren't always making those runs to the far post in his Arsenal career. Initially he did, and then as he kind of struggled, he started playing within himself. So he's made his own luck, but only time will tell. It's been, you know, I definitely think Havertz has not stood out or done or not convinced anyone, but there's definitely been games where he's become the scapegoat unnecessarily. But these were the first 2 games, the Brentford game and now, where people are singing your praises, where arguably you're man of the match, where you're making the difference. Obviously, scoring and assisting doesn't always mean you've had a good game, but you get the point. Appreciate that, Gunner, man. My guy. Around late 09, early 2010, I would have been among the homeless. I know what it's like to be out there. It's not nice. Big up yourself, Terry, for getting out of that. Really and truly, and it's not, man, especially at this time. You look at Christmas is coming up. I'm sure there's been a couple of other, religious, what do you call them things there? I wouldn't call it festivals, or celebrations would be the right word. Around this time, you got to feel lonely, and again, we all know being homeless presents obvious dangers, but there's also probably dangers we're unaware of, man. So you have to thank your blessing in this life, man. Ramsdale no less than 50, and we move. I'm here for that, man. Now, I think we wouldn't be selling anybody for less than 15 million. But who in this Arsenal team really do you? And obviously, every club, there's an exchange in it. If we're selling a player or another club is a selling club, they're gonna rate him a bit higher than we do. And obviously, we're gonna want to pay a little less. That's business. But trying not to do that. Who in this Arsenal squad really could you say decent fee? I think Ramsdale 50 million today's day and age. It is what it is. Let's get it done. I do think Tierney should be bringing in 30 odd million quid, but we'll probably make a hit there. Tavares, just do what you can. Lokonga, do what you can. Partey, obviously, we're not getting 45 million quid. The club might say, we've had some years out of you. Get the wages off. Smith Rowe, I guess, is 100% profit because he came through the academy, but it's not the Smith Rowe that was the first name on the team sheet, scoring and assisting, getting called up / on the verge of being in and around Gareth Southgate's England squad. So you probably wouldn't get exactly what you think there. Maybe potentially with Eddie and Nketiah improving somewhat and becoming a fairly established Premier League player, you get a decent fee, but you probably point to his wages. Nelson ain't bringing in anything too mad as well. Cedric, boy, you're just hoping you get something. El Nene probably going to be here till his deal runs out. Can't expect to make anything on Jorginho, and nobody wants to sell Saka, Martinelli, Saliba, Trossard, Gabriel Jesus, Ødegaard, etc., unless something stupid is offered. So, yeah, man. Bloody hell, Terry. Big up none, man. Ramsdale 40 to 50, Smith Rowe 25-30, Reece Nelson 10-20. Should be able to get 20 for Nelson, but if I'm trying to buy Reece Nelson, am I bidding 20 million for him? Nah, I'll say, he's a cult hero, but how many games has he started? How many games has he started consistently? How many games has he, is he really a guy like that? Respectfully to Nelson, more time he's come on where we're chasing games, or Arteta's probably out of options, or he's come on where the damage was already done at the club. Now, well, today the damage was already done to Lens and we're resting legs. And I'm not trying to belittle Nelson. I'm just saying, if I'm trying to buy Nelson, really, you're not coming with nothing really ground changing for Arsenal, really. If we look at certain things from a statistical point of view, people, Bukayo Saka has now directly contributed to 7 goals in the Champions League this season, more than any other player, with 3 goals and 4 assists. 2 games in quick succession, he's made the difference, really and truly. And I mean, my star boy, and they say he's been slow this season. That tells you there's the gears to go up. Obviously, Arsenal have qualified for the knockout stage of the Champions League for the first time since 2016-17. Obviously, we had 6 different goal scorers in this 6-0 victory against Lens today, and big up Captain Wonderguard. Arsenal's 6-0 win over Lens means they've qualified for the Champions League round of 16 as winners of the group. Obviously Group B, with 1 game still to play, as I'm sure we all know. Gabriel Jesus is the first player to score in each of his first 4 Champions League games for an English club. More record-breaking statistics for the Brazilian in this competition. Our 6-0 victory tonight, or yesterday now, based on the time, big up you lot, big up the Twitch one, smash the like button, is the biggest ever victory by an English team against a French opponent in the European competition. Arsenal, the first side in Champions League history to have as many as 5 different goal scorers, excluding own goals, in the first half of a match in the competition. Arsenal, the first English team to lead by 5 goals at halftime in a Champions League game, people. Saka is the 3rd player on record, in brackets 03-04 onwards, to both score and assist in 3 consecutive home games in the Champions League, after Benzema did it and also Luis Suarez. If you have any, if we're looking back at Saka's career, anything that them 2 have accomplished, he's done something well. You're doing all right in your first couple of games in your first season playing in the Champions League, if you're near them for anything, really. Arsenal's 4-0 lead within 27 minutes is a joint fastest an English side has ever scored, people. has ever done, basically, has ever scored 4 goals in a Champions League game, along with Man United versus Bromby in November 1998, en route to winning the competition that season. Is that a positive hoodoo? Calma, tranquillo, people. Saka is the second player from Europe's big 5 leagues to reach 10 assists in all comps this season, after Wirtz, people, who's having a great season after getting over his injury at Leverkusen. That whole club is really big up Xhaka. Havertz has scored in consecutive games in all club competitions, having gone 31 games without a non-penalty goal prior to this run. Goals are like buses. You're waiting an eternity, and then you don't only get 1, you get 2. So big up Kai, long may it continue, really. Jesus has 6 goal contributions in 4 Champions League games for Arsenal. Great statistics from him. Apparently, Kai Havertz is the 100th different Arsenal player to score a goal for the Gunners at the Emirates Stadium. That would mean Jorginho is 101. Martinelli has scored or assisted in all 3 of his Champions League appearances. Martinelli in particular, I'm going to need you to start scoring in the Prem. Arsenal have scored 6 goals from just 8 shots on target tonight. So, yeah, he scored more, be clinical. Arsenal win the group and progress to the last 16 as one of 8 seeded teams. We're seeded, people. Apparently, no player has more goal involvements in the Champions League so far this season than Saka with 7. Jesus is joint second with 6, people. So, positive statistics all the way. And we have become the first English team once again to lead by 5 goals at halftime of a Champions League match in the competition's history. So we're doing all right. So we see what the gaffer has said on the game being a game you dream of. I didn't even dream like this, but we had the chance to qualify today and become top of the group. And we've done it in a really convincing way against a really good side. And I think the team right from the beginning showed a lot of aggression and determination. Aggression and determination. Can we see that from the beginning in more Premier League games to go for the game? Everything happened in the right way, especially in the first 30 minutes, and that was really helpful to win the game. That was where it was 1 loss, signed, sealed, and dotted, really. Because in many ways, Lens deserved to lose 6-0. But also, I wouldn't say, like, we thrashed them, obviously, and clearly they didn't play well enough. But I don't think they got thrashed, and it was a game where it's a weird one because you lost 6-0. But I wouldn't say they could leave with their heads held high in it, if that makes sense. So yeah, he then said, on, doing it with a game to spare, I don't know. Let's see how we get to the game, how the job is done with what we wanted to achieve. Every time it says we to play a football match, but I guess we play a football match, we want to win it and we prepare it in the best possible way, but it gives us some room, certainly, in relation to use the squad and use some players more or less. He then said it's great that we are able to win in this way, but I think consistently we have shown at home not to concede any goals and score a lot of goals. That's a really positive factor. Those players need to have those experiences and believe that we can do it against big opponents. Now let's wait. We have to park it, and in February we'll know who we are facing, and let's see how we are in that moment. So January, Edu, same way the boys are doing what they're doing. Let's get 1-2 signings in January. Medical men, get the magic sponge, get 1-2 of our players fit. Timber, I don't know, but Man United, Liverpool, when they were winning leagues, it's like their players were always ruled out for ages and they came back. I don't know what supplements they were taking, but Arteta, could you WhatsApp one of those guys at City and get things done? On Gabriel's celebration when making a big tackle, as I said, that was one of the best moments of the game for me, because it just kind of shows our collective. I think we've improved a lot collectively. Like, it means a lot. We congratulate everybody. There's a lot of camaraderie and togetherness, but our attitude to defending under Arteta has improved. I don't think it's where it needs to be, and one of a caliber of a team that can go into a Champions League or Premier League competition with an expectation to win it and go all the way, but it's moving in the right direction. When the team has body language, believe in every game, every action the way we do, good things are going to come. And like the crowd, they wanted more. They celebrated. They play every single ball with us. And when there's that connection, it's really powerful. The team wants to win. They don't want to concede anything. That's the mentality that we need to become better. He then said it's a different kind of game. I talked about game state, and that's a crucial thing as well. And it's true, they have different behaviors to many teams, especially in our phase of build-up, because they're really aggressive man-to-man. We exploited that really well. And then he said on what he would do if he was facing Arsenal, he said, I'm not going to tell you, that's for sure. I mean, I'd have question marks if Mikel Arteta did, but maybe he could have put a bit of a white lie out there. There might be one idiot coach that would take his words and believe it. A bit like some fans with the rotating goalie thing, innit? On Tomiyasu, I think he was excellent. He has played a lot of minutes, and we have a really congested period. We are very short at the back at the moment, and we had to use the score to make some changes and give some players rest and minutes to other players. On Saka, he said that's a different edge to score ugly goals as well. And it was ugly goals. That's the best way of articulating it. Ugly goals. And be involved in this action that gives us an advantage to your teammate. He did it as well against Burnley when he won that header for Leandro Trossard, and that's a different kind of aggression that's good in this game, and that's a really positive thing to see. I mean, Saka scored some brilliant goals, but if you can add 4, 5, 6 ugly goals or ugly tap-ins or ugly assists, what does your tally at the end of the season say? On the confidence to our players, with him in brackets, Saka, with everyone, Gabriel Jesus as well in this tremendous form in the Champions League. Today we shared 6 different scorers, so that's great that the team has the capacity. Kai again scored 2 goals in 2 games. That's really good for the confidence of the players. On Havertz, he then went on to say, yes, scoring goals, playing well, participating in wins. Those are positive attributes. You've seen the reception of his teammates, the crowd singing his name, big up the fans there, because that was a good moment at the Emirates as well. And being with him in every single positive action that he had, those are all good things that are going to help him to show why he's a tremendous player. He then said on different options in midfield, well, I think we have different options. And in relation to the opponents we are facing, we have today we were really attacking because we played with Alex as well in the back line, and we needed it because we wanted to approach the game to win it and be very dominant from the beginning. And I think we have achieved that. I mean, what is there to say about Declan Rice? I think there's a video scheduled to come out tomorrow in relation to Declan Rice on my channel. He was superb again today. The consistency that he's showing, the understanding of the game, the decision making all the time, and then the action and the timing that he's got to win the ball back, to give the line of pass to break the team, the speed that he plays when the ball gets around him. I think he's been so good. On the reaction from the team after the first game against Lens, it was the feeling of what we learned with that defeat. Defeat gives you a lot of things to think about and take learnings from that. Credit to them. They're a really good side and they're really well coached. They make life very difficult, but today we were really effective. On not taking Ødegaard off, we have 5 subs and we're very short in certain areas as well. We had to prioritize who to rest, and he as well hasn't accumulated that many minutes in the last 6 or 7 weeks. So we asked him how he was, and he's fine, and he managed himself a bit in the second half, and he was fine. Fair enough. Ødegaard, our captain, has spoken. He said it was a beautiful night at home at the Emirates in the Champions League. A lot to play for, and we started strong. It was a bit mad, to be honest, but we did so well. The intensity, the rhythm we played with, played in, and what we did in the boxes was brilliant. We wanted to keep doing the same in the second half, but the game was a bit different. It was a solid performance. We knew what we were playing for today. We managed to do that, and of course, we're very happy now. Then he said on Jorginho's penalty, yeah, I think it was good for him as well. As you said, different scorers all the way through today. That's good for the team and good for confidence. So I'm happy to see that. He then said, I couldn't be prouder, to be honest. It's amazing to play for this club and, of course, to be captain as well and represent the club. I love this team. I love the club and I love what we're doing. So it's amazing to be part of that. I'm excited for what's to come. I think we all are. And it's down to us to keep working hard to ensure that that remains the thing. I'm a bit annoyed, people. There it is. Let's see if there's any other things that have been said, people. We've gone over Arteta's comments on Kai Havertz, but apparently he said he's becoming better and better. He's more confident. His 2 goals, 2 very important goals as well, because one won us the game and today he opened the scoring. His overall contribution again was really, really good. On Saka, absolutely, and a really consistent journey as well to do what he's done at his age, playing the position in the club that he plays for. It's a big credit to him. And then he bigged up Gabriel Magalhaes. I can never say his name, people. For the tackle as well. Don't think we've missed out anything in that. Big up Tommy. He was superb today. Shout out to Kai Havertz as well. And obviously Bukayo Saka and everyone connected to Arsenal. Saka said, not really. I want to play 90 minutes if I'm honest, but I understand his decision. So yeah, man. And Saka has 7 goals and assists combined in the Champions League. Jesus said, I already won the Premier League. I want to win it here, obviously, but I want to win the Champions League as well, of course. And some might say you and Zinchenko, maybe even Sterling, should have stayed put for another 18 months at City, and you would have had that. So yeah, man, shout out to Kai Havertz, man. Apparently he has scored 3 goals in his last 4 matches for club and country. Can't lie, we're shameless. Adding in club and country, adding in country, so it looks a bit more wavier. Nonetheless, shout out Kai Havertz and everybody involved. If you haven't hit the like button, you know what to do. But that appears to be everything on that front, people. So yeah, man, it is what it is. Haaland scores. That it's a great finish. Instinct, all that waffle. The reason why the win is weird, we didn't press hard and streamroll them. We just scored goals without intense output. And you're right with that. But for me, that's a good thing, man. What did the Lens coach and players say? That's good. Let's actually see. What did they say, actually? I mean, they were very respectful of Arsenal in the beginning. I'm not too sure, really and truly. Let me go on lens.com. Man was just telling me about glasses. Well, that's why you didn't type that in on Google. He said it wasn't something bad there, isn't it? Where's Lens's official? Come on, Lens. Obviously, change it to English. It's not going to change to English. It's late, man. You're going to have to allow me for that one. You're going to have to allow me. It's not Google Translate ain't working, so I don't know, really and truly. But that's one we can cover tomorrow. Again, people as well. And it was nice to see we was clinical, man. Social joins is in top form. The way he's you all are, but the way he's articulating the points is... We're going to definitely need to get you in the studio, my guy. And big up to you as well. And everyone tuned in. It's nice, isn't it? And we got to remember, Lens had opportunities. They had 6 shots free on target. They actually had more of possession, but it's what you do with the ball. They had 477 passes to our 449. So obviously, you know, we're playing forward a lot more as well. But, you know, we made it look better. And obviously, you know, there was a lot of fouls in the game. We made 14, they made 11. So they were competitive, but we were just a lot more clinical. We took advantage of their mishaps. We didn't have to exert too much intensity in the game because we did what we needed to. We had 14 shots, 8 on target and 6 goals. Near enough perfect from the final third, really. I know we've obviously beat Sheffield and Bournemouth by high scoring, results. But in the champs, we've been early doors anyways, innit? Like we've been something very different, man. So I'm here for this, man. R.I.P. Nan, man. Saka cooking slowly, but still cooking this year. I mean, it comes with being a big player, innit? You know, a couple of years ago, and you know, they said Kane's form's been rubbish. He was still scoring goals. In fact, in the last couple seasons, Kane started scoring in August. They said Salah had a slow season. The numbers were still there. As long as Saka does the drill, all that matters, man, really. And that shows me, you know, that shows Saka's testament that he's still able to do things. You know, I love the fact that Saka and Martinelli, and all these guys, they can score glamorous goals. But if you could score 5 or so tap-ins or whatever, that adds to it. Because not every goal Salah, Kane, Haaland, these guys score is great, really. But they all count. Appreciate the grind after a long day and you still look sober. Because I am, man. Don't worry, man. Friday, I'm going to let my hair down, man. Man said DJ out here working like James Brown, hardest working man on YouTube. I appreciate that, man. It's only right, man. Like, you know, they say in life, never, you know, work hard on other people's stuff, but never work harder on other people's things than yourself. And obviously, I made my cameo on AFTV. I went on Arsenal.com. Obviously, we done videos today. To be fair, I think well, technically, it's a new day, but you get the point. I think we defo was live on YouTube and Twitch with you lot earlier. But it made sense, man. Obviously, I've reacted to the game now and in a short condensed video. Again, people, if you've got any comments that you would like to ask the different knock, then head over to my YouTube community tab and leave whatever comment. Yeah, man. Still producing even though he's doubled up. Amen. You know, and Saka's adding gears to his game. He's becoming a bit of a villain. He's getting that, affecting the games without being brilliant. You know, his final ball, obviously Saka, when he's doing those interchanging passes are very good. But I do think one thing Bukayo Saka's had to and needs to improve on for me is his crossing or his long passing or those lovely weighted passes, you know, like the ball for Havertz, the one I believe it might have been in the build up to Brentford, you know, them balls into the back post. I think another thing Saka needs to improve on, and Martinelli, is taking consistently good penalties. I think if you ask Trossard nicely, he'd be more than happy to help you lot with that and finishing after, you know, Jesus, you need to tag along, and, you know, Kai Havertz, maybe you've got a personal coach, but probably need to tag along after training as well. But that just shows you, man. And I think the most underrated thing about Bukayo Saka is his consistency. You know, is Saka the most flashy winger out there? Is he the most flashy winger I've seen come through Arsenal? No, but plenty of guys haven't done what he's done. He makes the right decisions, you know. I'm not saying he can't be more flashy, and he does have some good skillful moments, and he is learning to finish with his right foot. I'm sure he did one against Everton. There was a game away from home last year. I cannot remember who it was, but he scored a effing great finish with his right peg, and obviously his left is great. But But what is the better player? A player that can do thousands of different things, but doesn't do them any to a very high standard or consistent standard, or a player that has a limited skill set, but he maximizes it and is bloody consistent at it. And, you know, the haters of other teams, sorry for hitting the mic, said Saka was a left back. My left back is one of the most informed players in the Premier League and Europe as a whole. He's definitely statistically up there in Premier League. I mean, in the champs for dribbles and scoring. But hey, you know, here the madman that's in Spain on loan from United, Kulusevski, Anthony, Sancho, Jadon Sancho. Have I said your name right? It's getting late. And bunch of others. If you come at the king, don't miss. Saka's doing it. No matter what you say about Arsenal Football Club, 3 players in particular that you cannot cap on. You can't speak nothing ill of Bukayo Saka. You can't dare to say anything bad about Declan Rice. And they know Saliba's lit. You know you're lit because they're preying on Saliba's downfall. When he has a bad game or whatever, you know how social media is. And that's why I think those 3 are the most important players at Arsenal. I think them lot are at this level, and just below that, of equal importance, but just below that, Ødegaard for how he's helped in relation to what Mikel Arteta wants in his system. Gabriel Jesus, by the same logic, Zinchenko. Partey, if it wasn't for injuries, would be in the higher bracket, but he's there. Big Gabriel is obviously there. Raya or Ramsdale, whoever the hell is in goal, I guess indirectly. I don't know if I've said Zinchenko, but by now you get the point and the premise, point, people, and what I'm trying to make. Saka's durability as well, and his decision making at the end of the day. The hardest thing I believe in life and in football is to make the right decision. Pass when you need to pass, shoot when you need to shoot, assess what is the best option. But you know, that's the hardest thing in football. The only thing that is as hard or arguably harder is to put the ball in the back of the net. I don't know for Mike dropping, but I hear that Kai scoring 3 and 4. I'd rather go with 2 and 2 in it. I like 3 and 4, but it's kind of, you know, you're bringing Germany involved into it and we're gassing it up a bit. But shamelessly, let's do it. Consistency is key that has kept us going. And I think one thing that is slept on with Saka, to go back to that previous point, is the intelligence. Like, obviously, I think he got like 10 A stars. He could have probably had a great career and earned a lot of money if he wasn't a footballer. But your ability to retain information, what your manager is telling you, or what people trying to help you to be better. And I think his mentality and his attitude, you know, Saka isn't, you know, definitely in publicly, you know, he doesn't strike you as arrogant and things like that. Clearly he is to a degree, because I believe you need that bit of arrogance to do what Saka or anyone else has done. But, you know, he's of a growth mindset. He wants to get better. He wants to maximize his potential. And one thing I've liked with Saka is he's relished the responsibility of this football club. And at times, even when Saka was playing very well, you know, I don't necessarily believe he was the talisman or the difference maker like that. Now he's sure as hell, it's in your face so much. Even if you didn't want to do it, it is there. And any Hudson-Odoi is the one I get on the most, like, just because it's nothing to do with Hudson-Odoi, big him up, but they gassed him. Ødegaard, apparently when he was a teen, when he met with Wenger, he refused to eat chips in front of him, my captain, before going to Madrid. Big him up, man. But yeah, man, Saka's lit. They can say what they want. I saw the post-game premiere, but before that breakdown, then this one. So I've traveled the rounds, but didn't go to FTV after all this, after the drama surrounding them. I refuse to watch them. I hear that. Big up FTV, but I hear that everyone's free to do what they're doing, innit, man? Slap the likes if you haven't, man. So yeah, man, it is what it is. But somehow we've been here for an hour and 13 minutes, people. Like, I don't know what's going on there. Time has flown, and that's testament to you lot across YouTube and Twitch for your talking points, etc. If you want more of your DG fix, I'm probably sure, you know, there's probably been a bunch of videos uploaded, and before you can blink, there'll be more videos. But yeah, man, I'm going to shower, brush my teeth, and relax now, really, and cut up some of these clips for you lot. And then I'll be back early in the morning or at some point with you lot tomorrow, innit? And then on Friday and on Saturday and so on and so forth. So if you haven't hit the like button, subscribed, or any of that sort of stuff, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section after. Stay blessed, stay safe. Yeah, it's time to chill out. 1v1 Demon Hudson-Odoi. Like, what position does he play? In my opinion, we need to rest Saliba for a game and find some time for Saka to come off the bench. I hear that before I get out of here, but when is it coming? It can't come against Wolves. You know, on the face of it, if we did take Saliba out of the starting 11 for somebody, and obviously Saka, we should have enough to beat Luton. But at the same time, you know, if you lose Saliba, that affects how we play out from the back. If you lose Saka, you lose a lot as well. And you know, Luton away, we should be running away with that, people. But It's not going to be easy. Apparently, you know, before we get out of it, apparently Lens suffered their heaviest ever defeat in European competition, people, in what was their 97th such game. Indeed, it was also the first time they've conceded 6 goals in a European match. And we didn't even have the best of records against Lens historically. So it's, you know, we was waiting for this, people, if I'm honest. But yeah, to go back to that point before I get out of here, you know, if I share my screen with you, I hear you. We do need to rest and rotate and be a bit cute and clever. Don't get it twisted. As Arteta once said, if you want to be the best and challenge for things, you know, I know the players are criticizing the fixture calendar list recently, but you got to be able to play 3 games in a week, 3 games in 10 days, week in, week out, really. You know, when you look at Liverpool, Salah, Van Dijk, all the man they were playing week in, week out. The City teams are the same. Obviously, there is rotation, but where does it come, broski? Surely, if anything, is PSV away, because it can't come against Wolves. For me, I don't think it can come against Luton. Obviously, we're going to need to be a bit cute and clever, like what we did against Lens. If these games, in theory, go the way we want, then Arteta's going to have to rotate and make subs. That's probably why, I don't know for statistically, but he's been making a lot more subs. He was quite reluctant to do such. I don't think it can come against Aston Villa away from home. That was a dramatic game last season. Their form is crazy, and it's the Emirates derby. So surely it can only come at best against PSV, because it can't come against Brighton. But it therefore can't come against Liverpool. And against West Ham, I don't know. Fulham, I don't know. So no rest for the wicked, innit? And we've been moving wicked in all competitions this season. So yeah, man. PSV away is teenagers. We're already top of the group. I hear that, but I don't really want 10 changes. Kirill could come in, you know. You'd imagine Kirill, dependent on the things, but the Kirill, the Trossards, potentially Onene and Jorginho, these lot could come to the fore, really and truly. You know, Benjamin White's getting back into full fitness, so you'd imagine he's back to be a permanent fixture. So yeah, man. And I know Henny tomorrow, my guys. Time to go bed, man, really and truly, as I said. So yeah, you lot stay blessed, stay safe. Yeah, man, it is what it is in that regard. So yeah, it could be the end of the season, and it can't be Wolves or Luton away. So it's not gonna happen. But if I don't get out of here, I'm never gonna get out of here, people. So yeah, smash the like button, comment, like, subscribe, check out the rest of the other content. Stay blessed, stay safe. Thank you very much for the silent listeners out there, those of you who have interacted. Just everybody that's here and everyone actually watching it on the replay. With us scoring 6 goals, you know, I know a fullback who would have had a feast today.
Against this right back, Charlie.
There's always just that active red flag. Defenders, I think, it's like.
Tongue